Okay, so today we're going to be doing some pre-teaching of some work to do with fractions. So we're going to be looking at the product of proper fractions. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is just make sure that we understand what this means. Okay, so first of all, we've got the word product. Okay, in maths, product, okay, means multiply. Okay, or the multiplication of a set of numbers. Okay, so product meaning multiply. Then we've got the term proper fractions. Okay, so in maths, we quite often use the term improper fractions. Okay, so improper fractions are just the opposite of proper fractions. Okay, so proper fractions, okay, for an example, would be 3/4. Okay, because the fraction is less than a whole. Okay, the numerator is smaller than the denominator. Okay, remembering that an improper fraction is where the numerator is larger than the denominator, meaning it is more than a whole. Okay, so today we're going to be looking at the product, so multiplication of proper fractions. Okay, so I'm going to go through a few examples together that will help you before the lesson later on. Okay, so I'm going to start off with a bit of a question problem. And I've got Ella. And Ella has drawn a rectangle and split it into fifths. Okay, she then colours 3/5 of it blue. Okay, so I'm not going to colour it in beautifully, please don't judge me. Okay, but I'm just going to shade in roughly 3/5. Okay, which is 3 bars out of the 5. Okay, she then, using her ruler, okay, draws red stripes over a half of the coloured parts. Okay, so I'm going to do that for us. So half of it. What does she do? She draws red stripes over a half of the coloured parts. Okay, so we can now work out, okay, how much she has coloured in both red and blue. Okay, and the way that I can do that with a calculation is we're basically working out a half of 3/5. Okay, because I'm trying to work out, we have 3/5 shaded blue and she shaded a half of them. So I'm trying to work out what a half of 3/5 is. Okay, and we can do that with multiplication. Okay, so I would be doing a half multiplied by 3/5. Okay, which I can then set out like this. Because when we multiply fractions, okay, I just multiply across with the numerator and multiply the bottom across with the denominators. Okay, so 1 times 3 is 3, and 2 times 5 is 10. Okay, so 1/2 of 3/5 is 3/10. Okay, and if I have a look back at our model, okay, because she only coloured half, okay, I've now got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 parts, which is the same as my denominator, and 3 are shaded blue and red, okay, which supports what I've done here with my calculations. Okay, so let's have a look at another one with a model. So this time, okay, we've got Jack, and Jack draws an identical rectangle, okay, the same one as Ella, okay, and he shades in half of it in blue. Okay, so I'm just gonna shade in half. Okay, he then draws red stripes over 3/5 of his coloured parts. Okay, so he's then split his bar again. So I'm just trying to make sure that my bars are accurate. okay? And he shaded 3/5 of them, okay? Or put his red stripes across, which I will do now. Okay, so now I want to work out the fraction that he has shaded. Okay, so we're trying to work out 3/5 of a half. Okay, which I'm going to set out. So I'm basically doing 3/5 multiplied by a half. Okay, which I can then set out because I'm doing my 3 times 1 and 5 times 2. Okay, so 3 times 1, work out my numerator, is 3, and then 5 times 2 is 10. Okay, and once again, he's also shaded in 3/10. Okay, and if we have a look again, because he split it then into fifths, he actually has 10 equal parts, and 1, 2, 3 are shaded. Okay, so we're not always going to have models and bar models and rectangles to help us work out the product of a proper fraction. So I'm going to show you now 2 methods that you can use to find the product of proper fractions. Okay, so I'm going to do method 1 on this board and method 2 on this board. Okay, and hopefully this will then help you later on in the maths lesson. Okay, so we're going to have a go at looking at 3/4 multiplied by 8/9. Okay, so what we can do is simply, just like I've shown you before, multiply across and for the numerator and the denominator. Okay, so if I did that, I would be doing 3 times 8 and 4 times 9. Okay, so let's work those out. 3 times 8 is 24. And then my denominator, 4 times 9 is 36. Okay, so the answer to 3/4 multiplied by 8/9 is 24/36. Okay, it's quite large numbers for my numerator and denominator there. Okay, so I can definitely simplify this fraction. Okay, and we've done simplifying fractions in maths recently, so hopefully you can remember how to do that. Okay, I need to look for a number that can be divided into both 24 and 36. Okay, so then I can work out the simplest fraction. Okay, so my highest common multiple of them is 12. Okay, so I'm going to divide them both by 12. 24 divided by 12 is 2. And then 36 divided by 12 is 3. Okay, so in my simple form is 2/3. Okay, so that's method 1, where you're multiplying across and then simplifying. Method 2, I'm just going to turn the board this way because we might need a little bit more space. Hopefully you can still see. Let me just double check. There we go. Okay, so I'm still going to do 3/4 multiplied by 8/9. Okay. But this time, rather than writing it all as one, okay, I'm still going to write it separate like this. Because what I can do is the multiplication cancelling method. Okay, so what I can do is I can look at the numerator of my first fraction and the denominator of my second fraction. Okay, is there a common factor for both numbers? Yes, there is. The common factor is 3, so I can divide both of them by 3. Okay, and basically what I'm doing here is I'm simplifying my 2 of my fractions now. Okay, which will mean that later on we won't have to simplify here. Okay, so my common factor was 3. Okay, so 3 divided by 3 is 1. So I'm just going to cross this out and make it 1. And then with my denominator on my second fraction, 9 divided by 3 is 3. So now my numerator on this fraction is 1 and my denominator on this fraction is 3. Okay, now I'm going to look at my denominator on my first fraction and my numerator on my second fraction. Okay, is there a common factor for 4 and 8? Yes, there is. The common factor is 4. Okay, 4 divided by 4 is 1. And 8 divided by 4 is 2. Okay, so now I've got 1 over 1 multiplied by 2 over 3. Okay, so now, let me just switch pens again. Now, if I write out what I'm going to do, okay, I'm going to do 1. I'm going to multiply my numerators. So I'm doing 1 times 2. And then my denominators 1 times 3. Okay, now I can just work that out. 1 times 2 is 2. And 1 times 3 is 3. And my answer is 2/3. Okay, which is exactly the same as method 1. Okay, so this is just showing you 2 methods that you can use. Okay, hopefully today then in maths, when as a class you're looking at the product of proper fractions, okay, you'll be able to use these 2 methods. Good luck.